folks, welcome back to McGold-riffs. This is episode 18, and as you can see, I'm bringing you the best that we have in the city of Boston and worldwide, as a matter of fact. We have our first international guest, Mr. Nat Saralamba. Did I say that? Saralamba.
Yeah.
I like that, Saralamba. And that fits my Boston accent, actually.
Great.
Nat is a Boston-based guitar player born in Bangkok, Thailand. He plays in multiple bands in the area. Wanted DOA is a Bon Jovi tribute band, and we'll talk a little bit about the tribute band world and how that works. KB3 is what we call a GB band, or general business band. That's corporate events and weddings and that sort of thing. And this is at the highest level with a band like KB3, which is part of Cahoots Entertainment.
Yes.
Great. And that's as big as it gets there. And he's also played with Hirsch Gardner in the Hirsch Gardner Project. And Hirsch was our guest, I think it was episode 16, monster player and really sort of a venerable institution, Boston rock and roll royalty in my humble opinion. He's played with notables such as Ernie Isley, and I love the Isley brothers as a kid. And I forget what their big hit was. They had a few big hits, but from the Isley brothers and members of Parliament Funkadelic and Mark Slaughter and Winger. As you can see, he's a monster player with tremendous technique, great ears, and he's got it all. So let's going to start right now, and I'm going to start right now with my first. Where'd you grow up? And tell me the Nat story, man.
Nat story. All right. So I grew up in Bangkok, Thailand. That's a capital city.
Yep. And how'd you get into this? How'd you get into how'd you start playing? You kind of told me a little bit, but I want you to tell the people at home how you did it, because I think you told me a little bit about being sort of a shy type person, and many of us are.
I still am, yeah.
And you kind of like, maybe I wasn't the greatest in sports. I wasn't the greatest in this, that, and the other thing. But guitar kind of helped me gain a lot of friends. So tell me about that.
Yeah, well, I was very shy, in middle school.
Yeah.
I was kind of like trying to find like an escape, for like whatever it was, expression, whatever. No, I didn't have many friends.
Yeah.
And then one day I took up guitar. I took like classical guitar lessons.
Right.
I wanted to do electric guitar actually, but they told me like I was too young.
Right.
I didn't think so. I didn't agree at all, but whatever. My mom paid for it, so I got to go with it. And one day I brought guitar to school. And like all of a sudden people was like gathered around, and so we had a good time. We sang, we played whatever was on the radio back then. So a lot of boy band stuff too, like the late 90s stuff, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, stuff like that too. But it doesn't matter because we had fun, and it's like, oh, this is great, like we all had fun and I had more friends. So that's cool. I had more confidence walking around basically. And I didn't have like the case yet even. I just walked around with, beat up classical guitar.
That wouldn't fly in this country, I don't think, man.
No.
They say, what are you doing with that? Put that in your locker or something. So you were able to walk around.
Yeah, walk around.
Was that an acoustic guitar?
Yeah, classical. Nylon string. So.
Nylon string sort of thing.
Yeah, it was like Yamaha, something like the entry level.
So it was pretty good?
Yeah, like C40, I think. It was like entry level. It was on sale too. It's like pretty.
And did you start with like classical technique and all that? Or did you start with the big cowboy chords, as I call them, the C, F, G, D type thing? How do they start classical types?
Reading. And the first note was that C here.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So that C, right? The second space from the top.
Right. Yeah. And that's unusual. In this country, oftentimes guitar players are, first of all, they want to play songs, like right off.
It's a good thing, I think, because you learn by ear. You're drawn to the instrument, through the songs first, and then
to a point though. But I tell you, I've played with some people, and I'm teaching now, and it's a long story how I got back into teaching. But I tell you, people don't learn the fretboard, and I've seen heavy duty rockers on there. They're doing that stuff. Okay, stop. What is that note right there?
Yeah.
E, F, G, you got to know what that note is, or what that note is, or what that note is. And the best way, I think, humbly, and again, you're teaching. I want to talk about the teaching sort of thing and how it's going with kids these days. But the way you were taught, it's like a foundation for a building. You know that note C, and that means a lot because the note ahead of it is a B. And I've always told a lot of people that if you start with a keyboard, at least have some kind of keyboard, so you can see there's no black key between B and C, and there's no black key. This is an E here, and this is an F. It's a half step. There's a reason for that. So you started like that, reading.
Yeah, it's like
in the right hand technique that.
A little bit, finger picking. Like something like let me do a clean. So like a PIMI kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like the pattern.
Yeah.
So and then kind of thing, the walls thing too. So there's several techniques, like basic stuff.
Yeah, you have great right hand technique. I saw you were playing Dust in the Wind. Did I see that on YouTube?
That's a fun
on
one.
a 12.
Right. So on, whatever.
Yeah, so cool, man. So how old were when you started? Were you 10, 11, 12? You said middle school, so that's...
13.
So you're a little bit older than some folks.
Yeah, but I did piano before that.
You did? Did that help you at all?
A lot.
Yeah.
I wasn't really into that, it was cool, classical music and stuff,
right.
But I was like into like rock and pop music,
right.
But it helped me a lot with sight reading.
I bet.
The theory stuff.
Right.
Sight reading was important, was huge. I didn't know much about chords or improvisation yet. But I knew about scales, different scales,
right.
like sharps and flats and stuff. And
which is the foundation, right?
Yeah, I applied that to guitar too, especially reading. Big.
So take me on from there. So what happened? Did you do bands like in 15, 16 years old, sort of in that middle school to high school sort of thing?
High school, yes. Yeah, I was in high school, and I had a band, but we were not serious at all. It's just like. We played a lot of video games, really. I told you. So we would get together like for a couple of times a month, spend an hour rehearsing, and then afterwards we spent like 3-4 hours playing like video games.
Yeah.
Going to internet cafe back then. Counter-Strike, it was a thing.
Yeah.
Early 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah. Half-Life, Counter-Strike. That was it.
But you were more serious about it. Obviously,
not
you're
until
a professional
college.
guitar player today.
Right now, I have no choice. So
that's the nature of being a guitar player. Oftentimes, we have no choice.
Yeah.
It chooses us, and we have to do it one way or the other.
Yeah.
So okay, so take me through that. So you started getting serious. Were you still with the same classical guitar teacher, or what'd you do?
No. I took the lesson for about a year and a half, something, and I moved on. So I was in high school.
Yeah.
And then I took electric guitar lessons for also a month or something, just to know the basics, like pentatonic scale, the shape and stuff. And then one thing I didn't tell you in that, I went to Germany. I did like an exchange program.
In high school?
In high school. Last year of high school. I went there. Actually,
that must have been so cool.
Yeah, it was great. It's like about 2001,
In this country, kids will do that in college. But it's very cool to do that, and you actually told me that you're very fluent in. Are you fluent in German as well?
Not anymore. I was.
Nicht sprechen Sie Deutsch? Nein.
Ein bisschen. I can pick up stuff,
but
I can't like when I have to talk, when I have to converse, I have to like think, what words, the structure.
How long was it? A whole year?
It was a whole year, yeah.
Did you bring guitar, or were you playing over there?
No. So my host brother, he has guitar. He had guitar, a Yamaha, a yellow, like bright yellow 80s.
Yeah.
RGX something, and then he didn't use it. It was like, oh, you can use it. And I didn't know much about like music in international level, rock and roll whatsoever.
Really? And you were older then, so you were like 18-year-old kid, and you're still kind of
like 16.
16. Okay, cool.
16 and 17, something like that.
But you had a thirst for it.
Yeah. And so I had this magazine too. It's called like Guitar Tutor or something. I was into like local Thai music, rock, Thai rock stuff, and I didn't know much about like, classic rock or stuff or the roots, what came before my time. And I was also into like the new metal stuff, modern rock, Incubus, Slipknot, early Slipknot stuff,
Right.
what was on MTV.
Yeah, go into that. What influenced you right then and there?
Right then, it was
And guitar players.
Guitar players. I liked Linkin Park too, and I liked.
That's sort of a pop kind of rock thing. Linkin
yeah,
Park,
yeah,
right?
but it was like
a,
distorted.
Kind of diatonic chords with a hard rock kind of so, with good vocals.
Great, great vocals,
right.
great lyrics.
It wasn't punkish, it wasn't metalish, it was. So that was really where you were coming from. That
easier access, accessible.
Yeah.
And I was into Metallica too.
Yep.
Like the
so
90s.
You did like the metal stuff, yeah.
I did. I did like heavy stuff.
As you saw him doing some of the stuff up and down the neck, you definitely are influenced in it. And if you check his YouTube, he's got some amazing Eddie Van Halen stuff. So keep on going. So Germany fascinates me. So you're over there. You weren't doing much with music, but you started doing some.
Yeah, gradually. And I liked the Scorpions before. So before I went to Germany, because they were big in Thailand. They still are. They usually would play. They would fill arenas and stuff, stadiums in Thailand, so in Asia, Southeast Asia, in general. I went there and I lived in a town which was about an hour away from Hanover, which is the hometown of the Scorpions. So I would go there and it's just Scorpions are from here. And
wow.
Kind of fire me up, and it's kind of go back and I want to practice, and
Cool.
And I brought a few cassettes. With me. One was Scorpions, like a best of something, like a gold something. I had No Doubt, the band, No Doubt.
So you have some of that funk background as well.
Yeah. Ska, funk.
Yep.
And I was listening to a lot of radios, classic rock stations over there. They would play Metallica, Scorpions, some punk stuff, some local German bands. And I had this magazine that I told you earlier.
Right.
This guitar magazine with Joe Perry on the cover.
And
Aerosmith just came out with this new album, new back then.
Yeah.
Just Push Play.
Yep.
No. They were big too in Thailand.
Yeah.
And I got into that, and I read magazine, interview Joe Perry. They're all in Thai, all the articles and stuff. And there was this one column. It's about ranking, the best guitarists of each genre. The 10 legendary guitar players: Jimmy Page, The Edge, Santana.
Right.
Those guys. And hard rock, you have Eddie Van Halen.
Sure.
You have
number one,
George Lynch. Soft rock, you have Steve Lukather.
Yeah, I love Steve. Steve's one of my favorite, if not my favorite.
Steve's awesome.
Yeah.
And a few more things. Funk, you have Eddie Hazel from Parliament Funkadelic, something like that.
Yeah.
It's who's those? Who are those? And I, brand.
And so you're digging into that stuff.
Yeah, because I wasn't really good at speaking German as well back then. So early, when I was there. I was kind of still a shy person.
Sure.
I was kind of in my shell. I was reading this magazine and practice, and they had exercises and stuff.
So you were practicing with your host family's guitar?
Yeah.
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 And were you doing any more of the sort of traditional reading type stuff, or were you getting away from that? Have you always kept that up?
Not really. It was all tabs.
Okay, it was all tabs.
Magazines.
Yeah, it's interesting because I grew up during a time without tabs, and so reading, I started reading. And it was good for me. And the last period of time now I've been teaching, I've been picking up this tab stuff. I'm like, this stuff's pretty good. It's the exact.
Yeah.
It can be exact right there. So take me. So you go back to Thailand.
I went back after a year.
Yeah. And then what? Were you starting to get the bug? It's hey, I'm pretty good. I think I can do this. When did that thought hit, Nat?
I went back and then I felt like I got better. Still hungry,
Right.
I still am. Trying to be.
I can tell. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was the point. So last year, I had to do it the last semester of high school.
Right.
Because I missed it.
Sure.
And then I was thinking about
where do you go from there?
Yeah. Where to go from there? College, music, or not? Blah blah. And I decided not to do music.
I know. I see this. I went to. I can't even say Chulalongkorn.
Chulalongkorn. It's a university.
For political science.
Just for everything. It's a big, one of the biggest.
Right. And so
famous.
you did that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was cool though, so because I like to learn more about what's going on, in the world.
Right,
Politics is important, but now I don't really talk about it at all.
Yeah. Don't talk about it. We don't. This is non-political.
Yeah, but I know a lot about politics, and I learned a lot about this country from that time to like history and the war, the World War stuff, and the ideology, political ideology and stuff. It was cool.
And were you playing?
I was playing. Yeah, I was.
Did you have a band in college?
Here and there, there would be like competitions, like contests and stuff, and I would form like bands like within the circles of friends.
Yeah.
Who were also in the college band. I was in a big band. They call it big band. We don't really play like jazz and stuff that much, or variety music, but with rhythm section and horns and brass.
Cool.
Yeah, it was cool though.
Yeah.
Good friends, and we was just like hang out almost every day, every night practicing.
And when were you in a band that got some sort of notoriety and got signed by Warner? When was that?
Yeah, that was after college. Actually, the last year of college.
The last year of college.
Yeah, one of the competitions that we did, and we won, and we were kind of like, oh, we could make some money doing this.
Yeah.
And there's like contests everywhere. In Bangkok, it's a big city. Every now and then, like
it's like huge. What's it like?
It's like New
10
York.
times the size. It's like New York City.
New York, LA.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people. It's crazy, but the food is great. So y'all should.
Yeah, I bet I would love to go there, man.
Oh, it's amazing, man. We can spend hours talking about
it. So go on. So you got signed by Warner Thailand.
Warner Thailand, which it was cool.
What was that like?
It was good,
You were able to do an album?
Yeah. Well, we did like a self-made album first. It's kind of like EP, 5-6 songs, and then we sold them just everywhere we could, and we would play anywhere for free. We sold them out. They were sold out, and we got signed. So we approached Warner Music, I think, through like mutual friends and stuff. And we met with them, and then we talked for a while, and then we got signed.
Cool. And what happened after that?
After that, I quit.
I saw that.
I quit the band.
Yeah.
For about like.
You quit a signed band. Why'd you do that?
Yeah. Well, it was like about a year and a half, and the band had been around for like 2, almost 3 years at that point,
Yeah. Were you playing? Were you getting big in the city?
Bigger, yeah. So we had songs on the charts and stuff.
Really?
We would see like we would hear like our songs on the radios, and we walk around and hear songs in the city and stuff. It was fun, but then I was thinking, what's going on over here? Because I was so influenced by rock and roll, American rock and roll and stuff.
Isn't the world influenced by American rock and roll?
Pretty much.
I would think so. Yeah.
No, but in Thailand, it's a lot of like Japanese influence too. Japanese and
Right.
Korean. The
Right.
K-pop was starting to get bigger.
Right.
But J-rock was also like big. Big thing. So I was also like influenced by that. And so I was thinking, maybe I should check out
How old?
this side. 24, 25.
So you're 24, 25. You're starting to think, what do I do? What does Nat do with his life?
Also politics. The politics of.
And you graduated with a poli-sci degree from.
Yeah.
So you got a degree.
Yeah. So
you don't really have to go back to college, but you do.
Yeah, it was kind of like the only thing I could get here, legally. So
yeah, right.
So I did that, and I eventually wanted to do like get serious into music, like educational wise.
Right.
And also, I was talking about politics in Thailand. I was like getting, going downhill. And stuff.
Oh, really? They have issues over there.
Yeah,
Issues everywhere, man.
Everywhere, but here is better, much better.
Yeah, well, it's free to a point.
It's cool,
So you came over here. So you applied for Berkeley.
Yeah, I did.
And how'd that go? How did the application process go? Did you have to send them a video? How'd you get in?
No. So
Yeah.
I went to Malaysia, so they have like different sites
They
around
have that.
the globe.
They didn't have any of that, man. When I graduated in the 70s, and there were about 500 people in the school back then, and 499 were guitar players.
And they
And there were none of that sort of stuff. The application process was, do you have any money? Can you pay? Oh, good. Come.
Yeah.
But now I have a buddy of mine. Do you know John Baboyan? He's a professor at Berkeley.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Yeah.
Good guy. Really a real jazz player.
Yeah.
And he and I graduated together. And he said, Bill, we couldn't get into that. It's so tough because he's one of the guys who goes all around the world for these auditions.
Yeah.
So you went to Malaysia to audition.
Kuala Lumpur, yeah. And
Really? And what'd you bring? Just your guitar? They have amps?
Yeah, I brought a gem, Ibanez gems, like a blue floral pattern gem from the 90s, 91, I think.
Uh-huh.
And at that time, I have a friend from Malaysia, so I had a place to stay.
Cool. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe just check it out and then hang out for a night, first the night before, and then the next day I went to audition. So
and
it's
how'd
like
that
no
go?
serious,
What'd they
no
do?
stress. Huh?
What'd they do? What was the audition? What'd you play for them? Can you play for us a little bit of what you played?
No.
No? Okay.
Oh yeah, I did Satch Boogie from Joe Satriani. I can't play it anymore.
Oh really?
Yeah, something like
And again, that whole Steve Vai and that, I missed all that stuff, but cool.
Yeah. That's all I can do.
But I'm
it's on YouTube somewhere, my video doing the whole thing.
And so you did that. And
I
they're
did
very
that.
used to seeing some flashy guys do that kind of stuff. What else did they make you do? They
Sight
make you
reading.
read? Okay. How hard was that?
It was advanced, yeah, but I was pretty good already at sight reading.
Cool.
From taking piano lessons and onwards
Right.
to that point.
And so they just whip it in front? 2, 3, 4, you gotta go? I mean, do you get to look at it at all?
Yeah, that gave me 5 seconds. More like 4 seconds.
Yeah.
And I did that in some weird, some adult chords, I would call them like that. Some tensions,
Cool.
So I wasn't really familiar with those back then.
Yeah.
Some 13, some major 9.
Yeah.
What's this?
And you're older at that time.
Yeah.
You're old, so you still had some learning to do, quite a bit.
A lot.
I mean,
Still to this day, always. Never ends.
So you got in.
Yeah, and I got scholarship too, fortunately.
Really? It's for 4 years or?
For 4 semesters, and then I had to renew, there's a process that you would renew your scholarship.
And so you went the whole 4 year trip?
It was 3 actually.
3 years.
Because I switched
and got another
my
diploma
major.
or something. I read about
diploma.
So
yeah, I did professional music because it's quicker.
Where were you living? Were you living in the dorms?
No, I lived in Chelsea.
Oh,
so
Chelsea.
Away. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
But I was happy. So
You liked it.
I liked it. It was only an hour ride. Well, it's a long ride for
By the T, you probably have to go by T. Yeah.
And so back home, it took me 2 hours to go to college in Bangkok.
Wow.
By drive because traffic and a lot of people living there. So an hour was not a complaint at all for me. So and I was fascinated by everything new here.
Right.
America.
Right.
America.
That's cool. It's I've worked with a lot of. I have my own duo, and I've worked with a lot of international students, and some blow me away. A whole batch of them from Brazil, and just just amazingly talented.
Yeah,
people. You probably know some. We can talk off camera and that sort of thing. But they love playing. So how'd you survive? How'd you make money? Were you doing gigs during those 3 years?
No.
No.
Gigs. I sold my car.
Yeah.
I sold my gear, almost all of them.
Right, you sold all your stuff.
Yeah,
to
back
come
home,
over
I
here.
sold my car too. Yeah, so that lasted me for a while.
Yep.
Cool. And I worked at school, so being a tutor.
Cool.
Theory stuff, harmony and stuff like that. You can work on.
Cool.
On
It's
campus.
interesting. Your background's fascinating to me because you're playing with some heavy duty bands right now. But man, I was doing bands full time from 15 on. I never stopped playing. Actually, the last 10 years has just been an acoustic sort of thing. So that's interesting. So tell me about your Berkeley experience. How'd that go? And was that intimidating? Was it overwhelming? Because you're with the best guitar players in the world, I think, these days. And how'd you fit in there in that world?
Berkeley was great.
Yeah.
And I took lessons with Scott Tarulli.
Scott was in our episode, probably episode
You know,
13 or
great
14,
guy,
I
great
forget.
player.
Yeah.
John Finn, Scotty Johnson.
I'm trying to get John Finn on.
John Finn's great. Man.
Yeah.
I miss him.
He can play, man.
Yeah, and I learned a lot about like ear training. It was funny because you have to do like a test, like a pre-test, first day, to test, see how your sight reading is at, how your writing level.
So you can get in the good ensembles.
So you can like bypass entry classes. So my ear trainings, I got into like ear training 4. Ear training 4 is like pretty high up.
Right. So we're talking about solfege and sight singing and that sort of stuff, which I've always felt is a weapon that I have that a lot of guitar players don't have. Oftentimes I'm going to a gig, I haven't learned a song, but I listen to it and I kind of can figure out what the tune is without ever playing my guitar.
Yeah.
So it's unbelievable to the young guitar players out there. If you can get any sort of ear training, because when we grew up, we didn't have YouTube, man. It's like you listened to the record and you went back and forth, etc. So that's cool. So you had the major teachers there, and you got into some good ensembles because of your reading.
So ear training I tested out with like ear training 1, 2, 3. Got straight into 4.
And that saves you a ton of money too.
Yeah, but my writing skills though, I got into like the entry level because
we were talking about English or
the note writing, stuff, notation,
sure. Okay.
basically. So I didn't have to do like English.
How was your language by then?
It was good, but it wasn't like as good as it is now. It was like I could understand, but I had to like adjust a lot still because people speak differently.
Did you have English teaching any kind of in Thailand?
Yeah, so we studied English I started out in elementary school. We would do like C cat, B bat, something like that. So like easy vocabs and stuff.
It's interesting. My only claim to fame, I have one, is I played with a 50s band called the Platters. They're actually in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Only you. And so I got to travel with them, and it was really cool. I got to go to Hong Kong. It was hilarious because we played on a Friday night, and we got there Monday. So Tuesday you wake up, you're walking around the city and just having a good time. We had a rehearsal at 5 o'clock on Friday, so I had like 3 days to hang around in Hong Kong. Everybody spoke English. Everybody. Yeah. It was an English like colony at one time. So
right.
But I was amazed, that everyone, because we in the U.S., we get 2 years of a foreign language and we're horrible at it. I threw some German at you. That's about all I know from the 2 years of German from the early 70s. So I always wonder about international kids coming here and taking college level courses in a different language. Yeah, that had to be hard.
Yeah, it was scary at first, but you adapt. You have to survive. So, and my English was pretty good already back then. I'd listen to like international music and stuff, rock and roll bands mostly. So. Got pretty good grasp on English. Still people like speak fast here. It wasn't like Hollywood movie or anything.
Well, I'm sure in Thai the people speak very quickly. It's just the nature of language. So you did 3 years there. Yeah. You weren't doing many bands, so you get out at late 20s, right?
Right.
Then what happened in that?
I did a quick tour. I didn't tell you about that too. So it was like it's like an ensemble. It's like like a silent movie kind of thing. We did like live soundtrack to silent films, like Night of Living Dead. And we'd have like 4 of us playing music to that.
And you were on tour?
I was on tour, for like a couple months. And this guy was writing music for all the films that we were doing. Some nights were great, some nights were like...
How'd you get that gig?
Mutual friends, again, Berkeley.
Yeah. Isn't that, that's the advice I think both of us can give the young guitar players. You got to be good. You got to be able to read somewhat, you got to have good ears. You got to be a good person. And what I've heard, especially from my international friends at Berkeley, is Berkeley was great, but it was better for the contacts.
Yes. Connection, network. Yeah. Networking is really good. Yeah. And I got into that band because of my sight reading skill. Still. Yeah. Yeah, it was fun.
Because he's writing real stuff, and you gotta nail it.
It's like, what's this?
Right.
It's a lot to read at once sometimes, and I got to see many parts of the country too. We went to different states.
That must have been illuminating.
Oh yeah,
because America is not. You go to Boston or New York or LA, That's not the country. The country
Yeah.
is very different when you get into the middle part of the country.
Yeah, we went to Ohio, went to Kentucky, went to Illinois. Not Chicago, but like small town, like
Yeah, cool.
Champaign, something like that.
Yeah.
Three Oaks, Illinois,
yeah.
something like that. It was cool though. People were like super nice. You know,
Yeah.
wicked nice. You know, I sound like Bostonian already.
Cool.
Michigan.
Yeah.
You know, first time I saw like the lakes, the Great Lakes. Pittsburgh, Kentucky. I told you that. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Tennessee, not Nashville, but Elizabethton.
And you were getting paid half decently?
Yeah, it's fine.
Surviving.
Yeah.
When you were doing that, did you have to still have an apartment over here?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you had that sort of thing to pay for.
Yeah, I have to have that.
And so what happened with that? And then when did that end? And what happened after that?
So I left the band. So I just want to like be here, you know, trying to get a job, steady job. And we were on the road for like 3 months, something like that, straight.
And it can get to you.
Yeah.
You know, it's unhealthy food. It's just a difficult thing. I spent 2 years on the road out of Berkeley when I graduated, and it was tough, man. And my joke I always said is, back then, man, I was making like $200 a week and spending 210.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, is this what being a professional musician is about? And so you came back, and then what happened? You're probably like late 20s, early 30s then.
Yeah, and I moved around a lot here. You know, Chelsea. I lived in Chelsea. I lived in Somerville.
Yeah.
Different places in Somerville. I lived in Arlington. Oh, so I think I was living in Arlington back then. Struggling. You know, trying to find like gigs and jobs and stuff. And I was busking a lot too in the subway station. Did that for a couple months.
Busking. Can you tell them what busking is?
Busking, so pretty much you just go in the subway and just play your guitar. Your
right, until the cops kick you out.
If you have the badge.
You have to get a badge of some
permit.
sort. Cool.
Yeah, if you have that, no, they're fine.
Cool.
You know, they're cool.
And so right then, you've decided. You've cut your ties to anything else. You're out there on the little boat going, I'm going to be a professional musician.
Yeah, at that point when the struggle happened, I was thinking about going back actually.
To Thai.
To Thailand, yeah. My mom came over and was like, "Oh, this is what you're doing," you know. And I was like, "Why? Why? It's like it's fun, you know."
It's not a glamorous life, man. It's a tough gig, and I've said this 100 times on this show. The arts are difficult. It's not like being an accountant or being a finance guy or
right.
You know. It's a lot of ad hoc work. It's a lot of what we call the gig economy, where you go from gig to gig. So you had some self-doubts. Talk about that, and where did you go from there?
Well, let's talk about the art a little bit, you know, music especially.
Yeah.
I think it's different because there's no path, you know, there's no like, nothing is laid out clearly for you.
Right.
You know, it's not like, you know, being accountant or whatever else.
Right,
it's
you
all
work
good,
your way
you know?
up, you get your CPA, and then, you know.
Yeah, it's all good, but like doing music is like you have to find your own thing, you know, trying to do different things and trying to like find your own way, you know. But once you get it, you know. You can be like super broke, or you can be like very highly successful, but you have all the freedom to choose, you know.
It's even tougher, you know. I've been doing this duo acoustic thing now for 10 years, probably do about 130, 140 gigs a year. And I work with 12 different singers, believe it or not.
Oh, cool.
And I've worked with a bunch of the young Berkeley kids. And
nice.
2 of them have made it. Yesterday, have you ever heard of Kelly Clarkson? She's a famous singer. Yeah. One of the girls I work with, Sam DeRosa, was on Kelly Clarkson's show yesterday.
I've seen that,
Sam graduated 2012 from Berkeley. And she was on that Songland show with Charlie Puth.
Berkeley.
So she's another Berkeley guy. Another one of the girls, Ingrid Andress, she was signed by Warner. She's got a 3-album deal. Yeah. She was on the Today Show. So, and again, even at that level, I guarantee you they're probably still struggling because they haven't reached above. You know, they're still in that level, and the music world is so difficult. It's the easiest. It's easier than it was 30 years ago and harder at the same time. It's easier because you can do it yourself. Yeah. You can create stuff. I did one video that was on MTV twice. It cost us $20,000. Oh. You can make a video now with a camera for nothing.
iPhone even.
Our first album cost $20,000. It was $40,000 and we didn't get signed. And it was but the proliferation of I heard 40,000 tunes are released a day worldwide.
Oh, wow.
So try to get through that din. So it's interesting. So you decided, Mom, I'm not going back home.
Yeah.
And that's the best thing you ever did, man, because you got to do that sort of thing. I know it was painful. So take me from there.
I didn't feel like I was struggling, really. Mm-hmm. I was having fun.
In her eyes, and I could see.
Yeah,
in a mom's
yeah.
eyes, it's like, so you didn't have any gigs this week. What do you don't eat?
Yeah.
That would upset me as a parent.
Yeah. So, no, I thought it was easy to make money here. Just like go out and play music in the subway, and you make like cash, like pretty good too. You know, like sit for a few hours. And it
takes such courage to do that. That's cool, though.
Yeah. So I walked 20 minutes to the subway every day.
Carrying the life?
It was little, like smaller than that.
Yeah.
So this line 6, something battery operated,
Yeah.
micro spider, something. Cool. I had a case that had wheels that was just like for guitar.
Right.
Let's go like that.
And you have a good voice. Good enough?
Good enough.
Were you singing or were you just
mostly playing?
Okay.
No
loopers or anything like that?
Some loopers, yeah.
Yeah.
Just jam and stuff. And I did like cover stuff too. People would just like stop by, beat it on just guitar only.
Cool. Yeah.
Something like something like that, I can't. And the solo kicks and people would just go crazy.
So take me into the Cahoots thing, into the Hirsch Gardner thing, and the Wanted Dead or Alive tribute thing. So you started getting a name around, because that's the only reason I found you is I kept on seeing you popping up.
Oh, really?
And I'm there, this guy's an up-and-comer, And again, you look at him, I thought he was 21, 22, and he's not. So
we're not getting to that.
We won't talk about age,
older.
but so you started getting some big gigs.
Bigger, yeah. So, people stopped by and then talked to me. So, hey, you want to do gigs and stuff? I got like bar gigs, like $70.
Right, of course, right.
So I was like, oh, yes, sure. Yeah, I wasn't thinking too much about it. It was great.
And it's, not to interrupt you, but man, it's amazing that you didn't have a ton by that time of band experience. Didn't sound like you did. No. Yeah, so you're really starting like late 20s, early 30s doing the band thing.
I was new.
You've really become very successful at it, so go on.
I got better, and so I did bar gigs, here and there, not like no steady gigs or something, and then I would, meet people, go out to shows and like talk to people. I met Hirsch actually around that time, Hirsch Gardner.
How did you meet Hirsch?
Well, he works at Guitar Center too. So
he did?
Yeah.
I
one
never
time
knew
we
that.
come say hi, and he's the manager, so big wig.
Which store?
Right across Berkeley.
Oh, that one. Okay, right.
So great guy, and I know he was in New England.
Right.
And
that was a big band, and you appreciate that.
Yeah,
that was a big deal. And
great band.
them and the band Boston were here, and Boston got the hits.
Yeah.
And that was it. But they were right there with Cars, Boston, J. Giles, all those big bands from the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, Extreme too, one of my favorites.
Extreme too.
So I love.
Are you a big fan of Nuno?
I love Nuno.
Yeah.
So in college, it was like.
And he's a local guy. I think he's from one of these towns around here somewhere.
Hudson,
did you know?
I think Hudson, Mass.
Right, Hudson, Mass. Right, he's a local guy, and he comes around every now and then.
Oh, he's great. Yeah.
So you started getting some gigs, and so you start doing what, 50, 60 wedding gigs a year, that type of thing, with the Cahoots thing?
Cahoots, no, not until much later. So I was still doing that, bar gigs here and there, here on Nantucket.
Right.
I met Hirsch. I met Hirsch, but no, it was until like a few years later that he had like project going on.
Yeah.
And we talked about it. Great guy, great.
And did you do an album? I think he's doing an album or did an album. Were you on that?
No, but I did a lot of live shows with them last year.
So. Cool, with Joe Filoni?
Filoni.
Two guitar players?
Yep. Tony Puleo on bass, David Sumner on keys. Also Mike Sorum.
And they
drums.
do some big gigs in big rooms, like the Blue Room there up in Salisbury and places like that. So major league places.
Yeah, so we went to the Kiss convention a few months ago.
Right, and they're playing NAMM. Are you playing that with them?
I'm not. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I'm doing like DOA now. Wanted DOA and the Cahoots.
So go into that sort of thing. We don't have. We got about like 10 minutes or so. Coming up in 10 minutes right now. So actually, right now it'd be good if we could. We have a video that we're gonna play right now. Can you just intro that video?
Yeah, well, it's one of my original songs called "A Matter of Time."
Mm-hmm.
You know, I came up with the chorus first.
Mm-hmm.
So I was driving, so I had to pull over. It's kind of like write it down. On my
Really,
phone.
it just came out of the blue.
I can't let it go.
Cool.
Thank you. Whoever gave that to me, you know. It goes like another day, another life.
Are you by yourself in this video?
Oh well, it's actually like collage of cities,
cool.
because it fits the music, I think.
Okay, cool.
And
did you produce this yourself?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I play the bass. I play guitar. I sang on that, and had a friend of mine playing drums, and yeah, it's like
cool.
rock and roll.
So we'll take a listen to that.
Yeah.
Great.
Along the street of the impossible, another face on the wall just walked up to me. Stop being so cynical. Another day, another fight, another lifetime in the light. Run away, no place to hide. You think it's all over now, it's just a matter of time. Oh, miracle, come closer to me just a little more. From the right to the left, big step, small fall. They calling your name. Another day, another fight, another lifetime in the light. Run away, no place to hide. You think it's all over now, it's just a matter of time. Another day, another play, another game, another way. Another day, another play, another game, another way. Another day, another play, another game, another way. Another day, another play. Another day, another fight, another lifetime in the light. Run away, no place to hide. You think it's all over now, just a matter of time. Just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time, of time, of time. A matter of time. Whoa, whoa.
Okay, so we're back from the video here right now. So a couple of things here. First of all, can you describe your style?
Rock.
Rock, hard rock, metal rock, jazz rock, blues rock, any of the above?
Rock that pays.
Right.
No, yeah, hard rock, I would say, but like with different vibes from different styles.
Cool.
Funky.
Cool.
I like funk rock too. Funk, I can do some blues.
Great.
Jazzy, some fusion stuff. Play some wrong notes.
Yeah. I saw
Depends
that
on
on
the gigs.
Facebook yesterday. I was talking about what is jazz? It's like where wrong notes are legal. So tell me a little bit about your gear. What are you playing these days, and what do you like to play and that sort of?
So this is my current main guitar right now, Chevelle
Uh-huh.
from 2002.
Beautiful. It looks like it's a couple of single
Japanese
coils and a humbucker.
Yeah, 2 mini hums actually.
Uh-huh.
Duncan, Seymour Duncan.
And can you get a single coil sound out of it too, probably?
No.
Oh, you don't like that? Yeah.
It's fine. I mean, I have a Strat too.
Oh, you have a Strat
So,
for
but
that.
this one covers everything I
Cool.
need, you know.
Yeah.
And I do a lot. I've done a lot of DOA, one DOA gigs, so
Yeah.
that gig needs a humbucker.
Right, of course. Right.
And it's very light
Mm-hmm.
because I was playing that Strat. It's a great Strat. It's Aerodyne,
Yeah.
Japanese made as well.
Right.
You know, sing, sim, hum.
Yeah, I saw your eruption
tribute.
video you did with that Strat, right?
Yeah, and you know, it started to dig in my shoulder.
Uh-huh.
It's like, you know,
Yeah.
and so when I switched guitars.
People don't realize that music is a very physical thing, and
It
it
is.
can get you after a few years. But
Yep.
believe me,
Yep.
I've gone through it with some singers that are having some
Yeah,
issues
this
with
thing's very
it.
light. You can feel it. Yeah.
Holy moly,
I know.
that is great.
feather,
You
yeah.
know, I have a '69 Les Paul that I bought
Yes.
new. That's about 12 pounds.
Oh, really?
It's like I
lot.
don't think you can do a full gig on that. So, and what else for equipment? You've got
I
some
have-
interesting things here on the floor.
Yeah, I have a fly rig by Tech 21.
Mm-hmm.
Fly rig's the second generation.
And if you
right
take a
now.
look at this thing, he told me he plays major league wedding type gigs
Yeah.
with just this, and it has some sort of out to the PA, I guess.
XLR output.
And are you using inner ears?
No, I use monitor. It's like a wedge thing.
Okay, so you do have a monitor.
Yeah.
And you can hear that loud enough.
Yeah, it's
Most
loud
of these
enough.
big wedding bands have serious sound men,
Yeah.
women that. Okay, so you can get enough because guitar players are famous. We normally like to have our own amp behind us
Yeah.
that we're in charge of. So
Yeah.
that's good enough for that.
It's great.
Cool.
No, gets-
And you don't have some big Marshall at home that,
I do.
just in case.
I do. I have 2 Marshall heads, TSL.
Are you using that for the wanted DOA?
No, I use the Marshall heads.
Oh, right, I would
So
think.
2 of
Right,
them.
right. So this is more for the commercial gigs, the
Yeah.
Marshalls for the hard rock gigs.
Yeah, for the big venues. You know,
Cool.
we played Blue Ocean Music Hall.
You got a pedal with your name on it.
Yeah, it's a custom made for me.
Uh-huh.
And by a company called Shark,
Uh-huh.
based
Out
in
of Thailand.
Bangkok,
Thailand.
of Thailand.
Cool.
Yes.
Cool.
And it's overdrive, heavy overdrive.
Can we hear that?
Yeah, sure. Very transparent too.
Yeah.
So it's like gain all the way up. So we roll down the volume, you get like.
Cool. And we'll use that in combination with the overdrive on this other pedal sometimes?
No, just the clean sound, just the preamp.
Clean
so
sound,
you can turn
right,
off
right.
the preamp as well.
Cool.
You know.
So tell me about the Wanted DOA. That's your current main gig along with the KB3 gig?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And how does that work if KB3 is booked and Bon Jovi's booked too?
Depends.
Uh-huh.
Depends on how far in advance, you know,
Yeah.
those gigs are, and then I will go from there.
I would think the Bon Jovi band you'd have to do that gig because you can't really sub that sort of.
Yeah,
You could
yeah.
sub a GB band. Usually, 90% of good guitar players can pull that, but you're not going to be able to sub a.
Yeah.
You know.
But I would never do things like last minute, you know,
Right,
unless like you know,
Cool.
emergency
Yep.
happens.
Okay, what's next for Nat?
Go home and go to teach after this.
In your life, man, right?
In life,
it's like,
yeah.
because if you
Just
listen,
kidding.
if you go on this guy's YouTube and you see this guy, he should be nationally known. How can you get to that level?
Just keep going, I think.
Yeah, right. Getting your name out there.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, and my advice is just keep on playing. Get your name out there.
Right.
Social media. You know,
Yeah.
post those Instagram 30-second things.
Yeah.
You know, and someone's gonna see you. You know, nothing against the the tribute band thing, and you get to play big gigs in that, right?
It's work, man. And
Right.
I like Bon Jovi. You know,
Right.
I love Bon Jovi actually, and no, I love the guys. No, they're great people.
A
Great
friend of mine's
musicians.
in a competitive Bon Jovi band. I
Mm-hmm.
forget his working on a bad name.
Living on a Bad
Living
Name.
on a bad.
So Ethan Brosh on guitar.
I know that Scott Poole is a keyboard player. He's an old
Okay.
buddy of mine, and
Yeah.
they just toured Europe.
Nice.
They just toured Europe on some sort of cruise thing that they did. So
Yeah.
you can do that sort of level stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ethan's a good friend of mine. So
Cool.
from that band.
Cool. So again, looking in the camera, there's a Nat in Thailand right now. And he's looking at you and he wants to be you, man. What would you have, what advice would you give this kid?
Get a real job. No, just kidding. I mean, life is short, right? Just,
Right.
just do it, but, have a plan. You need to have the plan always, in whatever you're doing. So game plan, I came here, I was thinking about finding a way to come here. I was like, okay, maybe school would be good.
Right.
Eventually try to get into like music education world.
Yeah.
And worst case, I have, political science degree. Maybe I could get a job here doing like.
It's interesting.
DC
Talk
or
about your
something.
teaching, and we've really got a minute left. So you have 50 students on average.
Yeah.
A week.
Each week, yeah.
That's I was doubtful of that because I can't believe that you can keep ahead of 50 students.
Yeah,
But
I
that's
can.
amazing.
Yeah.
And because it's an issue of some of the guitar players on the show that we've talked about, that there seems to be waning a little bit interest with everything else kids have now right now. Guitar seems to be. Are you seeing that, or are you not seeing that?
Not really. No. They're great. I mean, you have to be goofy, man.
Yeah.
You have to be silly with kids. You can't be like doing music all the time. You just have to You have to talk about like video games or whatever, whatever they like.
Cool.
Just pique their interest.
Yeah. Cool.
And just kind of gauge them. And it's interesting too. Like kids would bring in like songs, music that they like, and they would explain to me like, okay, why they like that. It's like, oh, that is cool too. Like something that I would never think about, like from their perspectives,
Are you teaching them what they want to learn, or are you following a framework?
Both.
Both.
I would teach them like theory stuff.
Right.
No, just a little bit here and there, each week.
Because it's so important, man. Knowing what 1, 6, 4, 5 is so important. Then all the other, in a major scale, C, 1 major, the 2 minor, the 3 minor, the 4. You got to kind of know that stuff, and a lot of rockers don't know that stuff. And it really hurts them. What is the word? It limits them.
These days, important.
Right.
You need to be able to do a lot of things, I think.
Cool. So how can people find you?
YouTube, Nat Saralamba, just look it up. And Facebook as well, Nat Saralamba. So I have a page, like a fan page thing. And I have personal page.
Cool.
So if you feel like don't want to like my fan page, just add me, we can talk.
Cool.
And Instagram, Nat Saralamba. The account name is Natitude, I think.
I saw that, Natitude on
3,
Instagram.
Number 3 at the end instead of an E. Natitude. What else do they have? Twitter, I'm not really on it as much. Yeah, pretty much it. Social media, just to connect. I don't talk about like personal things and stuff like that. Just like music and good times. So.
Cool. So take us out, man. I want to thank Nat for coming by here, coming to our little town in Norfolk, and something funky. You want to do like an E, like a.
something
Thank
like
you.
that.